The Champions League is back. UCL action is back. Real Madrid at the Bernabéu. Will they make a comeback against Arsenal? Will Bayern Munich at the San Siro? Can they turn it around? And guys, of course, PSG and Barcelona. And guys, we know that in the UCL, anything can happen. We seen just last week Declan Rice with two abnormal, incredible free kicks scored on Real Madrid, on Thibaut Courtois, and of course, Inter Milan. They scored a last-minute dagger against Bayern Munich in Germany. And listen, I'm going to be giving my second leg predictions. What do I think is going to be happening in the UCL this week, and who ultimately will be making the semifinals of this competition. But guys, first, if you haven't done already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. The like target for today will be 15 likes. And also, subscribe. Road to 900 subs. We are getting closer there. And guys, listen, let's start off with the left side of the bracket, because I feel like the left side of the bracket, obviously, we got Real Madrid, Arsenal, the Santiago Bernabéu, also PSG, Aston Villa. And let's start with PSG and Aston Villa. And I feel like that PSG, they've put themselves in a very, very good position. I feel like that PSG, that third goal that they scored against Aston Villa was truly a dagger. You could see the reactions on the sideline. Unai Emery and also Luis Enrique, the sideline reactions of both of them. And I really think that this second leg at Villa Park, if it was a one-goal margin, if it was a draw in Paris, even if it was a one-goal defeat to Paris Saint-Germain and it was a 2-1 loss and Aston Villa take that home to Villa Park, I really feel like Villa have a great shot. But that third goal against PSG, the way that they're moving, Villa, they defended with their hearts out, but it just wasn't enough. And I really think that PSG will be going through, because I see a 2-2 draw. At most, maybe a 2-1 Villa win. And for that reason, I've got Paris Saint-Germain going to the UCL semis. Now let's move on to Real Madrid versus Arsenal, because I know Arsenal, they have a 3-goal margin. But the thing is, they are going up against Real Madrid. You know, they call themselves a miracle club. You know, dreams happen for Real Madrid. Unfortunately, we've seen so many ridiculous comebacks, even in recent times, against Paris Saint-Germain and also Manchester City just the other years. And I feel like that Arsenal, they have to defend well. If Real Madrid get an early goal, it could be all trouble for Arsenal, and they might capitulate. I think that Mikel Arteta, he's got to go for it. He's got to truly press them high and win the ball back as soon as possible, just like they were doing in the first leg. And guys, the thing is with Real Madrid is that we have been so deep into the season, and it still hasn't clicked for Vinicius, Mbappé, Jude Bellingham. All these players still do not feel that cohesiveness that maybe some Real Madrid fans thought they would have had by now. And I feel like that you combine this all with Carlo Ancelotti, very under pressure in the Santiago Bernabéu. I just don't see Arsenal. Arsenal's not the team to bottle. I know Arsenal are the team, you know, in the past they would bottle, but this Arsenal team, their defense is the best part about their team. They can defend very, very well. And Arsenal have not conceded 3 goals in a very, very long time, home or away. So I think that Arsenal will hang on. And I'm actually going to go for a 2-1 Real Madrid win. You know, Real Madrid will win, you know, but it will be Arsenal who will be winning 4-2 on aggregate, and they will be going through. I think that as long as Arsenal can go to halftime 0-0 or at maximum 1-0, I think they got the job done. If they score 1 goal, I think the tie is completely over, because Real Madrid, I do not see them scoring 4 or 5. But guys, let's move on to the other side of the bracket, because of course we got Barcelona taking on Borussia Dortmund. But let's start off with Inter Milan and Bayern Munich, because of course Inter Milan, they had that late dagger. They were defending just like Villa, but unlike Villa, they got a result that really favored them going home. And Inter Milan at home, they've done pretty well. You know, this season they're atop the Serie A, and their defense is very, very good. Against Bayern Munich just couldn't crack them open. And I think that Bayern Munich, I think they'll score, but I don't know if it will be enough. Bayern Munich, they had all the possession, but they look lousy. They look open, you know, on the counterattack. In Inter Milan, they scored some fantastic goal through Lautaro Martinez, Thuram. And ultimately, I feel like that Inzaghi will be too much for Vincent Kompany and Bayern Munich, because the way that this guy can adapt in knockout competitions, I think that Inzaghi is one of the best managers in the world easily. He's probably a top 3 manager, and I feel like that he will not lose to Vincent Kompany at home. I just don't see it anymore. I really predicted Bayern Munich before this tie started, before the first leg, to advance, but the way that it went, even if it was a draw, maybe Bayern Munich gets through. But the way that they lost and the way that Inter Milan were countering, I really think that Bayern Munich, they're probably going to be leaving the competition. And I'm going with a 1-1 draw at San Siro. But guys, let's move on to my club, FC Barcelona, because we take on Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund, I'm not going to lie, Borussia Dortmund were very open. They made it easy for us to play, and of course, we punished them. And the thing with Barcelona is just that we just don't have to choke, I think that Hansi Flick might rotate 1 or 2 players, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Borussia Dortmund. I was not convinced by them. They tried in the first half. Guirassy had a couple big chances, but Dortmund are not clinical, and they don't get as many opportunities as Barcelona. So I just see this going as a Barcelona win, and I think that FC Barcelona are just going to be too much for Borussia Dortmund once again. I think that we're going to win in Germany. I think we're going to go 3-2, just like the last time we played in Signal Iduna Park. And I think that Borussia Dortmund, I feel like they did well enough for the league campaign that they're having to be in the quarterfinals of the UCL. Because I truly feel like that if Barcelona got Lille, it would have been a much tighter contest. I don't think that Niko Kovac is going to have any type of game plan that will be good enough to defeat Hansi Flick. Especially, they will need a historic type of victory to defeat FC Barcelona with the way that the scoreline is already. Barcelona are up 4-0, and I think that this will conclude with Barcelona and Inter Milan as our semifinalists from the right side of the bracket, and also Arsenal versus Paris Saint-Germain in the left side of the bracket. And guys, tell me what you guys think. And honestly, those are 2 very, very good ties. Like, you got Hansi Flick versus Inzaghi. The best offensive manager versus the best defensive manager. And then you got 2 teams that have never won the competition in Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain. One of them could be going to the final. And guys, listen, let me know what you guys think down below. What are your predictions? Let me know down below. And also, like up this video if you haven't. Road to 900 subs. Subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you on the next one. Visca Barca.